Welcome everyone to Haven of Horror. As always, I am subject, and I have Robert Jigsaw Wild. Uh,
Hello.
Robert, in case they can't tell from the thumbnail or the background on the stream or the title, what am I making you watch today?
You are making me watch Saw 3, not to be confused with Saw 3. This is the original Saw 3. The epic conclusion to the Saw trilogy, as I've been
Yeah,
told. This will be fun. I've slowly making my way through these movies. I've seen the first two. I'm sure this franchise will have consistent quality throughout.
oh, of
It's just gonna
course.
keep going up. But yeah, I don't know a whole lot to expect going in this one. So this is a fresh blind
Yes, this is a
commentary
blind
from
commentary
Juan.
from him, which I think is the best way to do these movies, especially when you get to the insane twist after twist. How much do you remember of Saw 2 the last time we did one?
So I remember the main character, the cop guy, and his son, and of course, before I saw Saw 2, that's gonna be annoying. Before I saw Saw 2, the second Saw, I of course knew the twist with Amanda and her becoming Jigsaw's accomplice. So it's information like that I knew going into the movie. So I'm certain she's gonna be back in this one, and Tobin Bell. Obviously, beyond them, I'm not sure how many returning characters we're gonna see. Like the end of two, obviously mirrors the end of the first one with our cop, the Wahlberg guy, getting locked up in the bathroom with now Amanda saying "game over." I don't know how much that's gonna lead into this one, or if that's just kind of dropped, ignored. I have no idea. Um, I I know a couple little spoilery things about this one, but not a whole lot of context. So I'm interested to see what my reaction is to
Oh,
this
show.
next epic installment.
Oh, show. All right. Get to timestamp zero past all the menus, all that good stuff. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
In three, two, one, play.
A Lionsgate picture, and for context, we are watching the unrated
Yes,
edition.
we are watching the unrated. That whole 2 minutes or whatever really makes a difference.
Yeah, I don't know if these are streaming anywhere right now, but we both own this movie, so. So a question I always ask up top, it's like, do you remember your first time watching this one? When did you watch it in conjunction with the others? Where were you when
This
you viewed it?
this might be. I've talked about this. I don't know if it was with you. But after a certain point, this becomes me and my dad's yearly theater tradition, and this might be the first one that I see in theaters. But I'm like 90% sure that I saw this in theaters and I went, I can't give away my full reaction because it'll spoil the end of the movie. Uh, but I was like, oh, this was good. Like, I like this. I want more.
Well, you say you wanted more. Did you think this would be the last one? Were they advertising it like it was the last one?
They didn't, but we didn't do that whole this is the final chapter thing at this point in time. Um, part
That
of me
comes
thought,
later.
yeah, that's later. There was a part of me that thought this might be it. Remember this guy?
Is this cop guy I was talking about? Are we picking up immediately
Yeah,
after the second
that's
one?
that's Donnie Wahlberg.
He looks
This
pretty
would
good.
terror. This would scare the shit out of me. By the way, you're just like in this really claustrophobic dark room with just
Oh
one
yeah, this
source of
sucks.
light.
Yeah, this is just a bad time all around.
But your first exposure to Saw would have been Dead by Daylight, right?
That's a good question. I've definitely been aware of this franchise for a long time. I know Dead by Daylight was my introduction to Amanda, or I should say that her with the pig mask. I hadn't seen
Well,
that before, and I was like, "Who the hell's this character?"
and they recreate this whole thing in the Saw map.
Yeah, that stuff was cool. It's definitely a franchise I was aware of for the longest time. Like, I had friends who were older than me who I know watched these. I think my older brother's seen these. I knew that Carrie Elwes was in the first one. Like, there's bits and pieces of information I was aware of. But yeah, Dead by Daylight was an early, like, oh, cool, like this character and the settings and stuff. And I think the first new one I remember seeing advertising for was 8 Jigsaw. Like, I remember trailers and stuff for that of, oh, they're trying again, they're bringing this
which
back.
is funny because I missed that one completely. That is the first one where I'm like, I don't see this until later. And then I made the mistake of getting invested again, and we all know how Spiral turned out.
Yeah.
But then Saw 10 came out. It's the best one.
I remember when Spiral was coming out, I was thinking, oh, I should probably finally go through these. And then people said it wasn't great, and I think I lost interest. Watch something else. And then 10 comes out, and everyone's like, oh my god, this is amazing.
The best thing about 10, I don't know if you remember this, it came out at the same time as Exorcist Believer. And a Saw movie had a better Rotten Tomatoes score than an Exorcist movie. I think it might also be the highest rated one in this series.
I would guess so. Because even the first one was a typical, like, oh, this didn't do well with critics, but audiences loved it and made a ton of money. You know, one of those classic horror movie scenarios. I know the first one has gotten like more reappraisal over time,
Oof.
especially after all these sequels. Don't do that. You're not supposed to do that to your foot.
This is a thing where I really like where it's like this is taking something from the first movie but doing its own thing on it, and it's so much worse.
I don't like it. Don't do that, Donnie Wahlberg. Oh god.
Yeah, like I know some people are like, "Oh, these movies aren't actually that graphic." Yeah, because you're viewing it 20 years later. At the time, this was some of the most graphic stuff out there, at least in mainstream theaters.
Yeah. Especially if you're looking at A, the unrated cut, which we are, and B, the sequels. And I think that gave that first one a bit of that reappraisal over years of, oh yeah, the first movie's not that gory. It's mostly suggested. And then 2 on are like, nope, we're leaning into the gore. That's
That's what people want.
Yeah. Which is
And
good for
people don't
everybody.
talk about this. This franchise had a run that rivals the biggest of the '80s slashers.
Yeah, it's the only one that I can think of that's like comparable to Friday the 13th, which is the amount we got in one decade.
And even then, I think Friday at some point they slowed down. Whereas this was yearly for 7 entries.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, when you get to some of the later sequels, it shows that they did not have time to finish the script.
Is this Dina Meyer? She back?
The cop lady from the first two, yeah.
Hmm.
No, these movies have kind of a wonderful sense of continuity with their characters,
Which you don't get a lot in
especially in horror franchises. Yeah.
Oh god. I think Chucky's at this point probably got everything else in terms of its grand cinematic universe of characters that keep coming back.
Well, what's weird with Chucky is a lot of that is retroactive because
Yes.
it is
Not
kind
the
of
first few movies.
yeah, it's really kind of just individual after 3 until you get to the direct to DVD sequels. He's like, no, we're going back and everything is connected. We've talked about it. The puppet was brilliant.
Oh yeah, just instantly iconic. See, I'm not a murderer. I'm just gonna pierce all these fucking chains in your
So,
body.
I'm not going to say what, but this is a plot point in this movie. Because, no, how do you get out of that? The answer is you don't.
Yeah, all he had to do was release himself from each chain. See? Also, you have a minute to do this.
Yeah. It's like the hands and the arms, it'll hurt, but you could probably do that relatively easily. That one in his jaw, though, or in his chin, is going to be a problem.
Yep, we're doing a Saw. We got the editing and everything.
Yep. It's a thing where if this was any other franchise, I would probably hate this. But at this point, it's so synonymous with these movies. I'm like, it'd feel weird if it wasn't here.
Ow.
And I think we've talked about it, but I don't remember. Are you particularly like squeamish or anything when it comes to this kind of stuff?
It depends. The more over the top it is, the less it's likely to bother me. I will say this franchise, it's not entirely my thing. Like I like these so far, like I appreciate them, but these are gonna be my favorites. I'm not gonna go back to these over and over again. Friday the 13th gets to a place that's so cartoony and silly that that's more my jam. But in terms of stuff that like really bothers me, for a lot of people, it's like eye stuff. Anytime somebody's like stabbed in an eye, that freaks them out and they can't handle it. I think what makes me squeamish more than anything else is when you have a bit when like fingernails are getting pulled back and ripped off of
Have you
fingers.
ever
That's the
read?
shit that's like too relatable. It hurts to watch.
Have you ever read? I think it's Ultimates 2.
No, I don't think so.
I forget
At
which
least
book it is, but there's an Ultimates book where Natasha is revealed as a spy for Russia, and like she betrays the Avengers or the Ultimates, and Clint Bish or the fuck is his name? Hawkeye, Clint something.
Clint Barton.
Barton is captured, and cause this is gonna gross you out, but this made me think of it. The way he escapes is he pulls out his fingernails and uses them as throwing weapons.
That sounds like something Bullseye would do. Good God.
No, Ultimate Hawkeye goes places. The end game Ronin that they're doing, where he's on vengeance for his family, that's Ultimate Hawkeye because Black Widow kills his entire family.
Mm.
I am excited to make you watch Jigsaw though. Laura Vandervoot is in
Oh, cool. We'll get there eventually. So I probably missed some exposition early on. Do you know how long is this after two? Is this like a week later or a year
that. They
later?
never say.
They specify.
It cannot be that long. I'm gonna slightly spoil something for Saw 4. The whole thing with Donnie Wahlberg that gets resolved in 4.
That's kind of funny. A big web, a tangled web of characters.
No,
Plot lines.
these movies are insane with the plot threads and twists.
So, what's the first one to fuck with the timeline? Is that not until 8, or do one of the early ones?
Okay, so
Or is that a spoiler?
no, it's not. Okay, this might be a spoiler. I don't remember if it's a twist, but okay. So 4, half of it takes place during 3, or all of it takes place during 3, and then I think it's 6 exists just to explain the plot twist of 5. So like they are all over the place after a certain point. And then I don't know when 7 takes place because at that point, all of the existing characters are dead.
So eventually we'll make a chart and figure out, like, okay, this is how all these movies line up, and we're gonna watch them all in chronological order.
I would pay money to see that.
Oh boy.
Oh, wow, I didn't think that was this soon. And I remember this trap specifically because A, ow. B, this is the first big hint I think that something is wrong. This is not a typical jigsaw trap.
Mm. Well, and also, it's been clear, like, this character has been set up in the other movies. I'm not sure why she's being sawed. Maybe that'll come later.
Well, she's got her tape.
Hello, Carrie. Dead on the inside. That's presumptuous.
Yeah, that's gonna be bad.
It's like that. Jigsaw, my man. This is a little
But
rigged.
but you see what I mean is this
Yeah.
is different than a normal jigsaw trap. Like something is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because if think about it, even if she unlocks that key, that thing is lodged into her ribs.
Yeah, she seems pretty fucked.
I would have spilled some of the acid out personally.
Yeah. It's easy to say what we do in this scenario,
Yeah.
hypothetically. I don't know. Whenever I'm sawed, I hope I don't get this trap. I'd fare better at some of the other ones. Yeah, it's like this seems physically impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucked up. Oh.
I love how she grabs the chains, and that's clearly just so that apparatus will go off like it should.
Well, I smell a twist coming.
That's the other weird thing. Okay, so we're probably what 20 minutes into this movie at this point. Uh, we're just now meeting the main test guy.
Yeah, this one more than the other two really feels all over the place
Yeah.
so far.
No, I remember when I showed this to Noah, I was like, oh, I forgot. Like the actual main game kind of feels like it's on the back burner because we've got all these other things that we're dealing with.
Meanwhile, at the shot on digital portion of the movie. Lady, do you know what you're doing?
Get you fired.
Only if she fails.
I want to see the doctor reacts to this video. Where like it's so unrealistic, and I'm like, yeah, it's a Saw movie. You save that kid's life, and you're like, fuck you.
We're seeing how tortured this lady is.
Yeah, she's on some kind of nondescript pill.
And she has a mirror in her locker, which you know is always a red flag.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So when we first moved into this place, at the two bathroom, right? I have a bathroom and the next bathroom out there. Somebody, whoever put the door on, put it backwards, so it locked from the outside instead of the inside. So if somebody was in the bathroom, you could just lock them in there. It was really funny.
Oh God, oh Jesus.
This is an epilepsy warning in the theaters. Let me just tell you.
Oh, look, she's got a bunch of pig masks.
He's a real swine, you might say. Although, back to your earlier question about time, I think some time has had to have passed because we're about to get a look at John. You think Marvel watched the Saw movies and like this is how we indicate that somebody's in, like under hiding from the laws? They just have a hoodie.
Yes. Oh my God, it's Amanda.
With long hair, which means that time has passed.
It's really weird how they built that up as a reveal when the second movie ended with her as like, I'm taking over.
Are you a little surprised we don't currently have an annual horror franchise? Like The Conjuring is kind of on its way out.
Yeah, Conjuring was pretty big one. I think with people's with modern sensibilities and expectations, I don't think a lot of studios want to be putting out a movie every year. Um, I think there's a lot of factors to that.
It's sad in a way, even though I don't like going to the theater because I mean that ran from the first Saw all the way up to the last Conjuring movie.
Conjuring. Another big one was The Purge for a while. I think those
The
were like every other
Purge,
year.
the Purge fit in there for a couple years, and then but it was dethroned like halfway through its run by Paranormal Activity.
No, Paranormal Activity predates The Purge.
Right, but I mean the sequels getting pumped out, they kind of overtook that. This is the
Hmm.
yearly franchise.
Hmm.
The Purge kind of faded off into nobody cares.
Right.
Because if you want to go watch a movie where nothing happens for 90 minutes, Paranormal Activity is your friend.
John, this lady's just trying to help.
This is Tobin Bell's favorite of these because he just got to lay in bed for.
Little did he know he'd make like 10 more of these movies. Not actually, but close enough.
Seven, six more. You don't, because he's not in
And
Spiral.
11 maybe question mark.
I'd like to see him get a proper send off because he is kind of the last big horror icon before like art.
Hmm. Because and like another big franchise around this time was Final Destination, which had similarities, being all about the kills and being something modern and different, but those all had some pretty big gaps in between.
And there's not really a visible killer. That is more just
Yeah.
the essence of death.
Yeah, and the director or writer talked about that recently where they were like, yeah, we kind of fucked up that Final Destination doesn't really have a marketable character. They can't really make merchandise for it. So we
Which is
fucked up on that front.
insane because you had Tony Todd.
Yeah.
Just make his character death.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's not what the new one is gonna do with him, but it'll be nice to see him one more
I
time.
We'll see. Part of me feels like that might because that's been a fan theory for years, is that he's actually death. Just like that's why I have a feeling Scream 7 is going to be every fan theory that you've ever read. Oh, Stu's actually alive.
Yep.
Even though it breaks that universe that he survived having a TV fall on his head.
It's possible.
I love this game, because it's such a simple, like, I believe that John could make this, where it's just like a collar with shotgun capability. It's kind of got like an '80s Suicide Squad vibe.
Hmm.
And here's our other main character that we're meeting 30 minutes into the movie. But do you see what I mean? Where like the main game really feels like an afterthought. They just have
Mhm.
so much else they have to get through.
Well, the first two are so focused. You know, the first one's just two guys in a bathroom. The second one is a bunch of people in a house filled with
Yeah.
traps. This one feels like, we're, we're
we've
we're
got
doing
all these we've got all of these plot threads that we've kind of left dangling. We've got to touch on.
Now, do you think though part of what motivated that was when they're making this movie? Yeah, we don't know if we're gonna make more of these. Let's kind of treat this as a finale, so
Possible,
maybe.
because like I could see somebody being like, "No, Saw 3 is like is my ending."
And this is this the last one that Lee Winnell writes? Because I think there is kind of a creative shift
There is.
in
I
the next
know
one.
Lee Winnell is not. No. Yes, this is the last one. And then Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan take over. But Darren Lynn Bousman, who also directed Repo, goes through until 4. And I like 4 well enough. Oh no, Patrick Melton wrote something called Feast 2 Sloppy Seconds.
Ugh, I don't want to watch that movie.
Apparently, Feast is a horror film. And then the other writer involved Marcus Dunslan. Oh, they both worked on Piranha 3DD, which was not as good as the first one. This guy has always felt, and do you have this? Where this guy feels like dollar store Nick Frost. I don't think it helps that I saw Shaun of the Dead before this, and he looks a lot like Nick Frost in Shaun of the Dead specifically.
Yeah, all I know about this Jeff guy is he's not particularly well liked by the fans.
Yeah,
Do
he's
you
kind
think
of
that's
a.
a fair criticism, or do you think it works for the movie?
I think it ultimately works, but he is a dick.
Mm-hmm. Because I think part of the appeal of that first movie is those are, by the end, genuine three-dimensional characters, even though they have made mistakes and are flawed people. You're still pretty engaged in their story.
Yeah, I'm just gonna tell you right up. He doesn't change. Oh, crazy! This guy was in Braveheart.
Oh, weird.
Oh, and he was just in Horizon: An American Saga Chapter 1.
Oh.
Oh, he's Jor-El on Superman and Lois.
Oh.
I don't know if I've seen their Jor-El. And he's in an episode of Psych.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, I guess I have seen their Jor-El just as like a hologram. Yeah, I would not have recognized him from this.
Yeah, it doesn't say what episode, just that he played somebody named Logan Paget in an episode of Psych.
I
You're the Psych expert. Who is that?
have no idea.
Oh, it's the drag racing episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that episode.
Yeah, I googled Jeff Saw 3, and the first thing I got was a Reddit thread saying, "In defense of Jeff."
Don't do what the note says.
There's a new game that I'm interested in called Expedition 33. It's got a longer name, but I don't know what it's called. It's like a mix of action and turn-based combat. But I found out today Charlie Cox is in
Oh, cool.
it. Yeah, I guess he's a voice actor.
Now, the only thing I know, the big thing I know from this movie is this is the one where John Kramer dies. Are you shocked they still haven't retconned that? Or they haven't said, fuck it, he's alive. He's
Yes.
back.
So since you already know that, that's why my walking out of this I was like, oh, is this going to be the last one? I didn't realize they were going to stretch it out for six more films with flashbacks.
It's like you keep bringing it back. I just, you think by part 7, they're like, fuck it, he's alive. It's part of his elaborate scheme. I mean, on some level, I do respect it, though. It's rare you get a franchise going this long that sticks to its guns in terms of its continuity. It's like, nope, it all
No,
counts.
the closest we ever get is just Saw 10 being before this as an excuse to, oh, he's just in the whole movie
But again, it's a lot like Chucky in that way, where they're like, nope, it's all canon.
now.
It's like,
Yeah.
shit, that doesn't make sense. We're not rebooting.
I have a feeling as soon as Tobin Bell passes away, we will get a full on reboot.
Probably.
And I won't like it.
That or the like 60s or 70s set prequel with the young John Kramer.
Yeah.
Like now we're gonna deal with his Vietnam background, and actually he did all these traps in the 70s. Some nonsense like
That would be an amazing retcon considering he didn't start doing that until he was diagnosed with cancer in his 60s.
that. That was his relapse, John. He actually did that decades earlier.
Damn. Although, no lie, a like 50s or 60s period piece, some of the traps you could do would be cool.
Now, I do really like the Shawnee Smith is so unhinged. I do like the bickering between these two characters.
Yeah, no, I like that you can tell she doesn't really understand his philosophy.
Hmm.
This is
Yeah,
just
Ikwe.
replacing her drug addiction with something else.
Stay with me, John. Imagine like channel surfing and then getting on this scene with absolutely zero context. Like, what's happening?
Oh, just wait. There's another scene where it's like, oh, imagine just stumbling on this at midnight.
Now, do you remember seeing these movies on TV at all? Because a lot of the old like classic horror, I remember seeing on AMC and shit, 13th and
Yeah.
Child's Play and Halloween. All those get cut down and edited for TV, which for some horror movies isn't that difficult because they're not the ones that aren't that excessively gory. It's just really funny to imagine this franchise getting the TV edit treatment.
I would
Where
love to
they're
see
shaved
that.
down, they're just cut down to 40 minutes each.
Yeah. I think the franchise has aired on Sci-Fi, but I never watched them like that. And you can get away with more on like Sci-Fi.
So I have heard this character referred to as slow ass motherfucker Jeff, and he is living up to that title so far.
Yeah, just wait.
But to your question earlier, I think the 2020s are interesting in that I think this has been a very good year for horror, kind of a resurgence in some really great horror films. There's just not that one specific franchise that's really defining. Like the 2020s are halfway over, and I don't think we have that one specific franchise that really defines it
Closest
yet.
we've gotten is
You know what
like
I mean?
Terrifier, but
Terrifier is getting there, but even that's only 3 movies in. You know
and only two of them came out this decade.
exactly. Oh god. I love the look on his face is like, ooh, a naked lady.
No, this movie definitely has some traps where I'm like, oh my god.
She's fine.
This also had to be hard to shoot.
Oh yeah, this looks very unpleasant. Yeah, like the 2000s, I'd say are predominantly remembered for 3 things: uh, Saw, remakes, and Paranormal Activity. Uh, and then there's other ones like Final Destination you could throw in there. The 2010s, The Purge and The Conjuring universe, and then the 2020s we've had so much variety, which is good.
So
It's good to have variety.
so if you missed it, his son was killed in a car accident. And this is one of the people that was
Oh,
like involved.
okay. Yeah, I heard the bit earlier about like his child was dead and gonna come face to face with.
Yeah, she was a witness that like didn't come forward or something. How Jigsaw knows this, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
This does not apply to a 2020s audience. A 2020s audience would be like, no, she'd record it on TikTok and put it online.
This is before smartphones, kids. You had to actually tell people things. And he's in this game because he's grown bitter and like distant after his son's death. Yeah.
Mhm.
Ow.
It's like, yeah, this is just torture now. That's the way to deliver that line. Dude,
Kill
get
him.
over it.
He didn't kill him. Come on. Do you
Like,
see
he doesn't
why?
deserve this.
Do you see why he's the slow ass motherfucker?
I don't kill people.
To be fair, Jeff is the one killing her by not doing anything.
I'm only human after all.
Wait till you get to
What
Saw
wrong
6 and
with
it just. Wait till you get to Saw 6 and it decides to take on the insurance companies.
me? Oh my god.
He has now decided to do something.
Once the editing kicks in, you know they're fucked. No, she's fine.
I love that he took all that time and he needs the key either way.
Ow.
Ooh.
It's like, dude, I think it's a little late for that. It's like, well, that just happened. In hindsight, mistakes may have been made, but he'll get over it.
I love that he just let her die for the only crime she committed was not coming forward.
Chainsaw.
Work shed.
I like just imagining the different scenarios, looking at all the tools and blueprints and shit, like all the elaborate plans, and then just chainsaw. I don't know. I'm having an off day. I'll do something with it. Oh, I
Remember
can
the
set
bear
something like a
trap?
bear trap.
Or, sorry, the reverse bear trap? Crazy how out of everything in that first movie, that's the other big thing that became iconic.
Mhm. Also, you'd have no idea just watching that first movie what Amanda's character's gonna become.
I meant to ask you, I think, when we did the review of 2, did that feel like a retcon, or is like, oh, that makes sense?
If it's a retcon, it's not a bad one. Like, it's a cool expansion of that character. It is weird. I don't know. Obviously, she wasn't like a huge actress at that time, and it's just a one scene role, really. But like, when they're making that first movie, do you think they know that Amanda's the character
I
with the
don't think
pigments?
so, because Saw is just like an idea that they had, and then they had other people come in. It's like, let's expand this. And don't worry, if you want to see why Amanda's acting like this, you'll find out in Saw 4. I think it's 4.
But recently we talked about the Stand miniseries from the 90s, which she's in and is very over the top and unhinged. And she's so good in that. She's so much fun. Like, you love to hate her, and here it is nice to see a bit more of that unhinged Shawnee
Yeah.
Smith.
You can tell it's a flashback because he has a hat on to make himself look younger. No, this is, I think, one of the best. This franchise is one of the best, just like supervillain films
Mm.
where the protagonist is the supervillain.
Yeah, even Shawnee Smith as Amanda is kind of underrated as like a female antagonist in a horror franchise. You didn't get a whole lot of those back in the day.
Remember the first movie?
Oh my god.
Well, I think she did get a little bit of this, like, she doesn't really check to see if he's still alive. She just carves him up like a turkey.
She doesn't know that guy. What
No,
did
that
he
was
do?
supposed to be her like boyfriend or dealer or something.
Mm.
This has got to be fun to shoot too, right? Like getting to go back to that first film.
Mm-hmm.
Because much to their credit, they don't often reuse footage. You can tell, like, oh, this took place around that time, but like this is new footage.
Yeah. It also helps that this was only made like 2 years after the
Yeah.
first one,
Yeah.
as opposed to later movies when we flash back to this era.
Saw,
People
as
have
much as I love Saw X, it's really bad for that.
you gotta roll with
It's supposed to be before this movie, but she's clearly decades older.
it.
He didn't try very hard though,
No, that's on Jeff. Also, I'm with you. How does he have this information? How does he know that lady
because he's a
was
super
there?
villain.
I'm starting to think some things aren't gonna add up.
It only took 3 movies.
So if they ever get Saw 11 off the ground, maybe that one's gonna take place between two and this movie. We'll see.
I hope so. Yeah, apparently it's a producer disagreement, which is what I was reading.
Yeah.
It's like, shut up, put the movie out, you'll make money.
Mhm. And as royally fucked as this timeline is, it is at least nice to know that, or at least, tragically, whenever we do lose Tobin Bell, like, well, at least there is a built-in ending, you know,
That
that
character.
however many prequels and spin-offs and shit we keep making, it's like, well, there is already kind of a built-in ending to part of this timeline with that character, so
No, that's what's so interesting about
that's
Saw
nice.
10 too. It's like you're 10 movies in and now you're trying to humanize him.
Hmm.
How did that work? Do you like the spooky lighting? Where did they get
Remember
the?
him?
Oh wait, maybe that's not his. No, it's
Oh.
not his tricycle. I like this in concept of like he's consumed by guilt and revenge. The problem is that he just comes off as really unlikable.
I do think you could have set up this character a little better. Oh my god, he's got the puppet.
Yeah, maybe introducing him 30 minutes into the movie wasn't a great idea. Oh, this one is disgusting.
Oh boy. But like what we were saying earlier about like franchise franchises that define decades. Like when I think of the '90s, Scream's the big one. Scream's the horror movie that changes everything. But outside of that, when we only get two Scream movies in the '90s, I think of the '90s as like the direct-to-video horror franchise era. You got Puppet Master, Leprechaun, Tremors,
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser
No,
eventually goes.
sorry, Hellraiser's the 2000s.
Okay.
That's when it hit straight to DVD.
Oh boy, what's this trap? Okay, Jeff, how are you gonna kill this guy?
Like the idea of that, oh, this is the judge that maybe gave you
Mhm.
your son's killer too light of a sentence, but to rescue him, you're going to have to get rid of the last bit of your son and like let that go. Like, moments here and there in this movie.
Yeah. No, I like this setup. It's just funny. It's like John Kramer. Why is this your final master plan? Why is this the one you're going out of? Who is Jeff, and why should I care? And why do you know all this?
Yeah, so you ever wonder what rotten pig looks like after it's been through a meat grinder?
Oh, it's where she gets the masks from.
Oh, where did they get all these pigs? Ow.
Yeah, you're sick, John Kramer. Has anybody told you that?
He's literally sick. You know how some people will get like a different personality when they have a brain tumor? Is this just like his cancer crash out? Like, and nobody's like said no, John.
No, Amanda's just going with like it's like his final notes to her are just getting progressively more insane and disgusting, and she's just going with all of it. It's just a prank, bro.
Too late here. It kind of is. This could be a horrifying way to go out too.
Yeah, as gross as this is, it doesn't make me wince as much as like the needle scene in the second one, where like you can feel that. That's just like god,
Yeah.
that's so painful to watch. This is just gross. Come on, Jeff, pick up the pace.
Do you hear in the background? You're killing me. I'm going to die.
You're killing me. Oh god, you're killing me.
I didn't like that kid's expression on the last thing.
Yeah, I don't care about
Jeff,
that kid.
can we pick up the pace here? Like, there is a man drowning in rotten pig.
Yeah, Jeff, the guy's gonna die in 2 seconds. I don't think it's worth it anymore.
If I remember correctly, this is going to be really funny. He just grabbed that key, which had been in the middle of the fire. Ugh. I could not do this as an actor. He saved one.
Eh.
It only took him like 20 minutes.
I'll say that choppy, uh, like
Frame rate?
low frame rate, slow mo. God, I don't miss that. That's one of
Nope.
those. Yep, this is a 2000s movie.
Well, and especially in this one, I'm noticing they're doing some of the saw editing for like just tiny things.
It's pretty excessive.
Why are we doing it for surgery prep?
And that's the type of thing, back in 2006, you're not thinking, oh, this is going to be dated.
Yeah.
It's just cool and edgy.
This
20
is the
years later,
big
oh,
scene.
God.
This is the big scene that sticks with, I think, a lot of people, but I can speak for me specifically.
Oh
You ready for the brain surgery scene?
boy.
I like the nurse lady though. Like she's trying.
No, I like her fine. It's like the movie can't decide. It's like, well, who is our protagonist of this movie? This nurse lady or Jeff? Eh,
Oh,
just do both. Oh god.
and her plot feels like an episode of like television, right? Where it's like I have to keep
Mhm.
this guy alive for this thing.
Yeah, are you surprised we haven't gotten the obligatory Saw TV series yet? Especially in the modern streaming age when you can
In
binge
the
watch
modern
shit like this.
kind of, the big thing is just because when these were popular, TV wasn't where you could be to do this.
And these
Yeah,
movies were basically a TV show. You got one every year.
yeah. Now you could do it now, but the franchise is kind of slowed down, and like
Mhm.
10 was the big comeback. And we already can't get another movie out after the big comeback.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah, I'm. Of course,
I was more
Spiral didn't
shocked
work.
when we get like when we got the Mist show.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that exists.
Maybe that's how they'll reboot. It'll be the HBO reboot of Saw. We should mention the effects here are amazing.
Oh yeah, the makeup here is fantastic.
This is the other
I
big
do
scene.
not know what this scene.
I want a doctor to react to tell me how this is inaccurate. And could I have
No,
warned you of this scene?
no. I imagine a doctor being like, "Oh no, the brain eating scene from Hannibal. That was way more realistic than this." I, that imagine a Hannibal Saw crossover. That's got potential.
Yeah,
Hannibal versus Jigsaw.
Hannibal just eats whatever's left. No, but legitimately, a like philosophical debate between John Kramer and Hannibal Lecter would be amazing. Because
Yeah, like I don't think.
that's the thing these movies never talk about. Is it's not like John Kramer is like a doctor or a well, he's like a he builds,
Construction guy.
yeah, like
Yeah.
some kind of like construction guy or builds things. He's like a blue collar guy, but he can build things that rival comic book villains.
But Hannibal, he's high society. He's classy.
Yeah.
He's like, ew. No, you're gross. I just eat people, but you, ugh. God.
Now I feel like this is the big scene that everybody talks about.
No, this is impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe that he'd actually survive this, but you never know. Yeah, aside from the naked lady, this is the least YouTube friendly scene so far. It's like how do you edit around this?
We'll have to go watch the Dead Meat review. I know, like with Terrifier, they were just like, screw it. This is Patreon only.
John, don't go into the light.
Oh, okay. So this is the first look we get at. God, I can't remember her name now, but that is his ex-wife in universe.
How many movies is she the villain of?
Uh, she keeps coming back until 7. Is all I'll say.
She broke my heart. Oh God, Amanda's gonna be jealous. Yeah, I'm starting to think Amanda's maybe just a little unstable. I haven't really gotten that vibe until this movie, but yeah, she might be a little off.
Cutting herself in the last movie wasn't a sign.
But I mean, he told her to do that. That was just following orders.
No, I do like that this isn't a strict mentor-mentee relationship, which is what I think he thinks it is. She is clearly in love with him to some degree, in like an unhealthy kind of way. I really like the bald look with like the little goatee, and I wish we'd had that more. And Tobin Bell just has like the voice for a horror villain. But I think at this point, these are the movies that Shawnee Smith is known for, and like for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's great in that Blob remake. You know, I think she's pretty underrated final girl. So what is this scene in like the Saw X of it all? Is this before? Is this after?
Okay, so this is going to sound really weird, but based on her haircut, this is right after Saw 1, Saw 2, or before Saw 2, because that's the haircut she has in Saw 2. And then in Saw X, she has a different haircut that is not flattering to her at all. Uh, where is it? This Saw X.
Oh God.
Okay, and then so Saw is between Saw 1 and 2. So this would be after Saw X, that flashback. But either right before or right after Saw 2. Don't you love this franchise?
Ow, don't do that.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, this is Amanda in Saw X, and that haircut was not a good choice.
It's just, you know,
It really makes her look older. Oh wait,
Oh my God.
so this would have been that flashback would have been before during. Oh god, okay, now I'm confused. So I forgot that she had. I didn't realize she had this haircut during the events of Saw 1. So that flashback was probably actually during Saw 1 because that's when he has the bald look with the goatee.
Is this Lee Winnell?
Yes. This is them setting up. Movie? This is them setting up the first movie. but we can't show Carrie always because he didn't come back.
Yeah. And in the context of Saw 2, I'm still not sure if Amanda's working with Jigsaw yet during the events of the first movie. But now this movie is telling us that
She is,
she
yeah.
was. Which is funny when part of the twist of Saw 1 is that other guy who he blackmails or threatens and
Yeah.
forces to be part of his crew. It's like, why'd you even need him if you had her?
Did you notice they have just like a nondescript man laying there where Carrie Elwes would be? But you very carefully can't see his face.
It's all starting, John.
I love like this is not a piece of music that is talked about enough, but like that Saw main theme is so
Mm-hmm.
good. It will last the exact amount of time I need it to for this game to conclude. Does this feel
Yeah,
retconny that she's been there since the first movie?
a little bit, but like I could roll with it. With him taking the drug, do you think that's a reaction to the CinemaSins people who are like, that's a plot hole. How was he pretending to be dead that whole time? Or do you think him like taking a drug was always part of the plan and now we're
I
just
think
seeing
that was
it?
always part of the plan because I mean, this is obviously just my experience. I don't feel like we had as much of that in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
That is much
Yeah,
later YouTube.
I don't mean
Like,
CinemaSins literally. I just that's a
yeah.
discourse I've seen over the years of like that didn't make any sense. How did he pretend to be dead?
Which is
Okay.
funny because I'm like, have you watched any of these movies? None of it makes sense. We don't care.
Yeah, I am left kind of wishing that more of the movie was just this character and this storyline. The Jeff stuff really does feel like an afterthought. And we need something else going on.
We need traps within traps. What are you doing? Why does it look like he's sniffing him?
We don't kink shame here. Oh god. Amanda, you might be slightly unstable.
I know that's bullshit. I saw the later movies. No, I get what he means, though. He means ever since he became Jigsaw. Have you noticed we also haven't touched in with the police for like an hour?
Yes. It is. I'm not even saying it's this as a criticism. It's just funny how both of these sequels are so reverent of the first movie. Just so immediately, it's like because typically in franchises, this is what you were doing by like part 5 or 6, or we got to go back to the first one. We got to call back to the first one. This whole trilogy so far is like, remember the bathroom? That's where the saw happened.
Which is funny because unless I'm forgetting something, we actually get away from that with later movies.
Oh my god.
Which does make me kind of wonder if maybe this was intended to be the end because we are kind of trying to wrap up everything. Like, oh, did you want to know what happened to Adam? Well, here you go.
I thought he died.
Spoiler alert, he did.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on here. Is this like a mercy kill?
Yes, because remember, he flushes his key down the drain at the beginning of Saw 1. So he's just kind of stuck there. And instead of just, I don't know, letting him go, they kill him.
I don't know. Do you think that that cheapens the ending of the first one just a little bit? The game over, just leaving him locked in there.
Yes, a little bit. However, I have a theory, but I can't reveal that theory yet. We're going to start a Saw theory channel.
Hell yeah.
If we could make a rule, like for the rest of time, that we don't need to show characters vomiting on screen, that'd be great.
Sir, maybe you should stop talking. Oh, God.
Yeah, you ready to cringe?
Is this the final one? Is this the guy who actually did it?
Yeah. Really trying to be like an exploration of that grief, kind of like The Last of Us.
Mhm.
Um, but it does the thing The Last of Us does where grief turns the protagonist into a monster. But I don't think this is aware that the protagonist is a monster.
Not Timothy. Oh,
Ooh,
God. He's gonna get Jesus.
he's already been Jesus. What is that going to happen now is a lot worse. And I like the way the actor plays some of this, where like you can still kind of see that rage mixed with the grief. Like he's not
Mhm.
let himself move on. Um,
Yeah, one thing Saw has going for it is a lot more flashbacks, really spending time with those characters, getting to know them. This movie could use more of that.
yeah, it's
Everything's
got
kind of
too much
told
going
about,
on.
yeah. Now,
Did you think he was lying that it's attached to a shotgun?
well, it's like, would you take a bullet for this man? It's like this. I don't think you fully thought this one through. Like,
Ooh.
ow. I mean, it is a little late for the if you stand and do nothing, you're a murderer. Yeah, he's already done that. It's already happened. That blonde lady's death is on him. I think we're past that. Stop screaming, Jeff. Just do something. Oh boy, there's the editing.
Oh god, the leg.
My leg.
But also, the judge could just as easily do the same thing, but he's just standing there.
But also, it's like, would you take a bullet for this man? It's like, no, that's a kill shot potentially. Ow.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, even if he lives, like, he's crippled.
It's like my man John Kramer. That's a shotgun. Oh, whoops. Congratulations, Jeff. You've now killed 2 people. No, I was expecting where that would go would be the judge would take the key and like sacrifice himself.
It's so much funnier.
Nope. He just got fucked over. God damn you.
It took so long that I couldn't find the keyhole.
Jeff, 3 people have died, and they're all kind of on your hand.
No, they're all like 100% his fault. Like, why did you say something? Hey, maybe don't stand in the path of the shotgun.
Also, one thing I think the flashback we saw earlier with Amanda, I feel like they kind of forgot was that Lee Winnell's character, what's his name, Adam,
Yeah.
in the first one, he was shot. So you know, as dark and fucked up as the ending is, you're still thinking, oh, he's gonna bleed out to death. Like he'll still be dead in like a day. I don't know if we needed that bit of her suffocating him, where it's like he's been shot, like he's gonna bleed out to death.
What's he?
Yeah, because remember, Carrie Elwes' character shoots him as part of his strategy near the end. Because he has to shoot him to kill him, but he just wounds him. So yeah, he's shot at the end of that movie.
Reason it's not ringing a bell, but it might just be because it's been a minute.
Because first they fake like the poison thing,
Poison, that I remember because it had
and
like
it doesn't work because then they shock him.
amazing worst acting of all time.
Yeah, and then remember after he saws off his foot, he gets the gun and shoots him, but he doesn't die because he just shoots him in the shoulder.
Oh
And then that's
yeah,
when he comes in. Yeah, I
that's
feel like the
fine.
flashback in this movie we kind of forgot about that.
Probably.
Oh, don't say that, John Kramer. Oh no, this is the love triangle I was not expecting.
What's interesting is it feels like he's still testing her, like trying to teach her this lesson, but you can tell she's not getting it.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna be a great prodigy.
Don't worry, you'll find out what was in that letter in the next one. Here we go.
Amanda, do what he says. Oh boy, this has gone off the rails. Oh boy. Ow, don't walk on that. It would be amazing if he turned the corner and Carrie Elwes was there still crawling. Like that's all the progress he's made after the first movie. Yeah, a lot of or like the climax of Saw 2 was built around her, taking over. And this has gone in kind of a different direction. It's like, oh, she maybe kind of sucks.
Yeah, no, it's like, oh, she doesn't really get it.
Hmm.
And I like in a way that it's kind of she's kind of being a hypocrite because she's like the number one example of, oh, you can, turn your life around
Hmm.
given these tests.
Oh my god. Ow. What is he, Freddy? You are no Jigsaw. You are shit. What does the script to that look like? You're not Jigsaw, bitch. You're nothing. Repeated 5 times. Nobody changes. It's like, Amanda, you passed the test, though. I'm starting to think Amanda needs therapy. This has gone off
You
the
at
rails.
that point, she would realize, oh, he knows something.
Oh my god, and slow ass motherfucking Jeff is coming. Finally. Oh my god. Oh Jesus.
Did
Oh,
you
it's like a
catch?
Greek tragedy.
Did you catch that?
So is Lena's ex-wife or just
His wife.
wife? Yeah.
That's why she's been self-destructing at the hospital. That's her way of coping with her son's death. And the guy at the beginning wasn't asking her for a divorce. He was asking her to divorce your
Mm.
husband.
Oh my god.
The real game was for Amanda the entire time, Robert.
Yeah, Jigsaw. It in hindsight, I think you did a pretty bad job picking a protege. I don't think this worked out. This is compelling. Also, John Kramer. How do you know all this?
Uh, that's, I think, my favorite thing about this movie is when you realize that all of these traps that seem unwinnable were because Amanda doesn't get it. It's a plot point.
No, that's cool. I love how we're now flashing back to what we saw 5 minutes ago. Oh, Amanda.
She's dead, Jim. I
And we
forgot
never
about that
saw
though.
this character again.
I like that, like, on top of the games that are being played, it's also her game to see if she can come back from what she's done, and she couldn't.
This sounds desperate, John Kramer. This doesn't sound genuine. Killing me will only make things worse. Why?
Well, remember, she's still wearing the collar.
Mm.
Like, he could just take the key, take that off, and get her to a hospital, and she may live. But if he kills Kramer, she's dead. That's a lot of blood.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, the guy who actually killed his son, I mean, he's already dead. Like,
Well, but this is for different. This is for putting you through all of this. Jeff, you can't take 20 minutes this time, but
oh my god, he's gonna get sawed to death. Oh, you did it, Jeff.
Jigsaw withheld like critical information there.
This is critical, need to know information. Oh my god, he's flashing back to things he's never seen.
That was just so that we could cut away, let her head explode, and come back.
Well, happy ending.
Well, that was Saw 3, Robert. Only 7 more to go.
So, does Jeff come back? Is that
He
in
comes
4
back
or
briefly in 4 because 4 takes place during 3. I think it's 4. All right, Robert. First watch thoughts. Hit us.
I don't know. I enjoyed it. It's probably my least favorite of the 3 so far. I don't know if that's the general consensus. It's kind of all over the place, but there's some good ideas. Definitely has its moments.
Yeah, I like
It's a
this.
fun time
It
to
is
feel like
definitely
kids.
lower on my list.
It
Um,
is really funny that that's the death of John Kramer, and they haven't retconned it like they
nope, that
could have.
is. So where does this rank in our made me watch series for you?
Um, what else have you made me watch?
Well, there's Saw 2, The Stand, and Doom.
Oh, dude. Oh, yeah. Well, it goes without saying I'm putting this above Doom.
Ya
So
bastard.
I'd go Doom, Saw 3, Saw 2, and then The Stand, I think.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Okay. Because I keep a list for this on Letterbox just with everything we do on this. This is currently at 5. I put it right below The Stand, but I did put it above Doom. Doom is easier to get into the mood for just because there's a lot going on in this movie. And if I'm going to
yeah,
watch a Saw movie, it's probably not this one.
it's so dense. There's so much going on.
Literally,
Well,
there's so much going on.
it's one of those movies you watch when you're in the mood for like a Saw marathon, right? But if you're just watching one of these movies, this isn't
Yeah.
gonna be your go-to.
Honestly, I'd probably go to Saw 2. I love the house setting.
And Saw 2 is a lot of just Tobin Bell talking. So
Yes. And it's
automatically, it's very
oh
fun.
yes, there will be blood. Are you excited to
But I'm
see
not a
Saw
murderer.
4?
I am, because now I'm curious, because in many ways this does feel like a trilogy wrap up, but there are also threads to pick up on that apparently 4 does. So
Can you
I'm
believe that we
curious to
got to
see how this
10
plays
after
out.
this movie?
Yes, but had I been around at the time, I would have figured that we probably would have just rebooted and started over by now. It's the way we kept making these movies is the interesting part.
Yeah, because you haven't even met his other accomplice yet.
So that's yeah, I wasn't sure if that was gonna be the twist in this movie, if there was gonna be some other secret accomplice we didn't know about, but I guess that's coming later.
Yeah, because he kind of he has to take over for the present stuff. And I'll just say he is like a black hole of charisma. Uh,
Oh.
he is not my favorite. Well,
It's
Robert,
fine because you get John Kramer and flashbacks and
yeah,
video footage. Oh shit! So much this movie is like the game is over. It's done. We put a bow on everything, and the other sequels will say nope. He was lying. I
yeah,
guess.
cool. Well, Robert, it's going to be a few weeks, but what is your next project for this? What are you going to make me watch?
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier today. It's tough because I've got a bunch of options, but I'm also at the mercy of what's fucking streaming right now.
If
Uh,
it's something you own and it's not streaming, don't worry about it. I can still.
yeah. Well, I think for now I'm gonna go with something that is currently streaming. That's on both Tubi and Amazon Prime. Because you still have not seen The Stepfather, right? From the
Right,
80s.
right.
Okay, so that's my pick.
Okay.
Something pretty different for this. I will make you watch The Stepfather in a few
Are you
weeks.
wanting to do this as a
Um,
commentary or a review?
that one I probably get to say review.
Cool.
I don't think there's a
It's been
whole
a
lot
while.
to say for that first movie, and that's also something we can later add to the wheel for our original and
Remake.
remake for
Yeah.
commentaries. Because you've never seen any Stepfather, like the
I haven't
remake
seen
or
any of them.
so yeah, I've only seen the first one, but I really like it. So I'll be curious to hear your thoughts. And yeah, that can just be a quick review, and then we can maybe do something else after that same night, in a
Well,
few
we're gonna
weeks.
do. I didn't tell you, but we're actually gonna do Saw 4 right
Oh, cool. Yeah, we're just gonna keep going.
now. Yeah. Well, we've got to get through all 7 other films. All right, Robert. Thank you very much for indulging me in this. I probably won't pick another Saw movie for a while. I'm sure there's other movies that I'm just not thinking of that you haven't seen. We'll do all 9 hours of the Stand remake.
We're also gonna bring Noah in on this series and make him watch some stuff. So also keep that in mind.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure he'll have things to pick, and we can always. And there's plenty that he hasn't seen.
Mm.
All right. Well, next week we're gonna do a commentary on Prey, and then we will be back this Sunday with Alan Wake. Thanks for hanging out, everybody, and we'll see you guys on the next one.